G'day guys, Dom here. So today we're going to be talking about power sharpening. Now, power sharpening is one of those things where there's a bit of controversy attached to this. A lot of people aren't huge fans of the whole idea, and to be honest, I used to be one of those people. I used to sharpen everything with stones like a maniac, especially considering I was doing many, many knives in a day. So, you sharpen 10 knives in a day on stones, that's your whole day. So I moved to power sharpening, and I kind of came up with a system that was a lot safer. And the issue with power sharpening overall is that it's very, very easy just to burn the crap out of your edge. You see these production companies when they do their how it's made shows, and even some knife makers, to be honest, where they're sharpening their knife, but they're using a belt grinder, and they've got this like 120 grit belt on there, and it's cranked all the way up to full, and you see sparks flying, and they're just grinding the piss out of their knife. And as a knife maker, and somebody who just gives a fuck about steel and performance, that hurts my soul. So this is a little bit safer, and you really don't risk just destroying your knife. Because, well, not really destroying your knife. Overheating the steel, it'll kind of reduce the performance a little bit, like maybe 50%, I'm guessing. But when you're paying good money for a knife, you want it to perform properly. And, you're paying good money for heat treat as well. You want to get the most out of your heat treat. So I like to do this on a disc grinder. Reason being is I've got a much more surface area here. And it's also a little bit slower on this machine just because I've got a bit more control of my variable speed. And I also like to flood it with some sort of coolant. This is just soap and water, nothing special. Very, very slow speeds. And just flooding it with something to keep it cold. 600 grit abrasive, although it doesn't really make a huge difference. It's more of a personal preference thing. I'll be sharpening one of these things. This is my contender model. And we'll see how this goes. I can't really see what I'm doing, so this might be a disaster, but we'll see. It's one pass. Now this is nowhere near as quick as I was doing this with a belt grinder and just grinding the crap out of it, but for the extra, 3-4 minutes it's going to take me, I think it's worth it. So this side, it's fairly good. And if I was smarter, I'd figure out some sort of way to have like a drip coming down here, or like a cool mist spray, but I just haven't done that. I will do eventually. But this is working just fine at the moment. So that's that side mostly done. I don't want to go 100% to one side because I want to make sure my edge is actually centered. No, we're not quite apex, but we're getting close. I might just do the rest of this off camera. Okay, so we've got a nice edge on our disc, and it's got a very nice little burr on there. It's not too big. You don't really get a nice big bold burr on the disc like you do on a grinder. So we're going to come over here now, and this is a very fine belt, A5 or something, and we're going to go very, very slowly. This is as slow as the grinders can go, at least this one. And I'm going to very carefully give it ever so slight of a convex. And I do a slightly higher angle when I do this, just to give it more of a convex kind of a shape. And for this, I don't use any water, because the belts really don't like it. At least this specific belt doesn't like it. So instead I go very slow, be very careful that I don't overheat my edge. Because this is really just finishing work right now. We're just kind of refining our edge. All the main work's been done on the disc, and this is just polishing. When you do this, you gotta be careful you don't scratch the backside of the knife. Because believe me, I've done that before, and it is very annoying when you have to go back and refinish the knife. especially since you're pretty much done at this stage. Alright, let's go and buff this now. Got a very nice fine burr. I don't think you're going to see this on camera, but there's a nice fine little burr on there. We're going to go and just buff this real quick. For buffing, I use paper wheels with some rouge on there. This machine's called the Widowmaker because it's probably one of the most dangerous machines in the shop. I've had this throw blades at me. Believe me, it's not fun. And when you're talking about a knife at this step, it'll cut your finger off like that. So be careful and just don't take a finger off. And I still want to be careful with my heat because even this thing can build up a lot of heat and burn your edge. And make sure you hit every little bit of that edge. You don't want to miss the spot. And the tip, you got to be careful because the tip is the part that'll grab and throw this into your foot or into your heart or whatever. Seems to be going pretty good. It's nice and sharp. And you can definitely feel it's got a nice bit of bite to it. So yeah, that's it. Takes a while. I think right now we're about 7 or 8 minutes in. We've got a very nice sharp edge and we didn't risk burning the crap out of it. So it's nice and safe, and in the long run it gives me a better product. So yeah, there we go guys. Hope it helps some of you guys out, and thanks for watching the videos. See you next time.